Okay, today we have got a L320 Range Rover Sport in for a passenger front wheel bearing. It is a little bit nippy today, but at least it's dry. It can be doing whatever it wants as long as it's not raining. Anyway, let's get the vehicle in here and this passenger front wheel off. Now we've got this passenger front wheel off, we need to remove the disc, the caliper carrier. We're not going to separate the caliper, we're just going to unbolt it at the back here with the 2 bolts. Now, these wheel bearings, they are just bolt on, so it's just nuts and bolts, and possibly somewhere along the line there's going to be a great big hammer involved. Now once I've got the caliper carrier off, what I've done, I've hung it up out of the way with a little exhaust hanger, you know them ones that you get in the exhaust, the free ones. Just wiggle them out and keep them. So there's a handy little tip that is to keep the calipers out of the way. Now let's move round to, you don't need to remove the ABS sensor, I don't think, but I'm going to take it out as a bit of a precaution because I haven't changed one of these in many years. Little 8mm, get yourself a pair of these pliers, and to be honest with you, I think these ones were from Lidl or something like that, Parkside, and they're brilliant pliers. 8mm out, give it a little bit of a wiggle, and it should just pop out like so. Now let's move round to the brake disc itself. Now they have got a little grub screw in them. Now sometimes they can be a little bit tight, but what we need to do, get a great big hammer and give a brake disc a bit of a clouteroonie. We can get a T50 and back it out. That disc now should come off. Now let's jump onto the centre drive shaft nut, 32mm with your impact gun, and back it off like I have done. Now the drive shaft, sometimes it can be a little bit tight, but what I like to do is leave the nut on and get a punch, a damn good punch like that, and the biggest hammer you've got, and give it a clout in the centre and leave the nut on so you're not damaging the threads. Now these wheel bearings, they are a bolt on. Now what we need to do, get yourself a damn good wire brush and give the threads around the back here a little bit of a clean, like so, and then get a little bit of this stuff by Launch UK Power Lube Plus, and it is absolutely insane. Give it a little bit of a squirteroonie, and then we can come from the back and undo the 4 bolts. Now as you can see, I'm removing these bolts now. Because I've cleaned the ends of them and give them a bit of lubrication, they're coming out nice and easy. Always clean your fixtures and fittings when you're removing bolts, especially on these older vehicles, and you know, a wire brush is going to be your best friend. Anyway, let's get them out. Now let me show you a tiny little bit of a tip when removing these bolts on wheel bearings. Now what I like to do, what a lot of people do, you can thrash it with a hammer. Oh, there's my ratchet gun. Thrash it with a hammer and they come out, but if they don't come out and they are a little bit tight, let's get me ratchet. Good job that's a low one off snap-on. Get our hammer, smash your wheel stud out like so, and that should just pull out the back. You might have to just wiggle it a bit. And what I do, put a nut and a bolt through the hub flange, the drive flange, up against the steering knuckle. Get me ratchet that's just dropped off, and it does pull them out. Let's give them a bit of a tap, and it will pull out like that. And that is one wheel bearing removed. Now let's move round to getting the new wheel bearing in. Now before we put it in, what we're going to do is get our wire brush on a drill. We're going to clean all this surfacing up nice and shiny, so as it goes in it's going to fit in nice and snug. Now before we go ahead and put it back together, we're going to use a little bit of Launch Pro Lube Plus. We're going to give everything a little bit of a squirt. So when we get this wheel bearing now, make sure it's the right way round. It should slide in beautifully, just like that. And then we can get the bolts now and get them torqued up. Now of course when we're assembling everything back together, we're going to be torquing everything up to manufacturer's spec. And that's it, that is everything now back together. Make sure that all your pipes and hoses and electrical wiring is all nice and secure, and it's not going to be fouling everything. We've also locked the lock and tab over for the centre drive shaft nut. Let's get the wheel back on and take it down the road for a little bit of a drive-a-rooney. But before we go down the road, because we've had the brakes disturbed, we're going to give that pedal a good pump and make sure it is nice and hard. And there we go, we are now out and about in the vehicle. Despite what the people think about these Range Rovers and stuff, yeah, they're expensive, and they are expensive when they go wrong. But however, they're just like sitting in a bloody armchair. And I tell you what, if I could afford to run one on a daily basis, I'd have one. And this is the 4.4 V8. Sounds insane. Now we're going a little bit faster now. The wheel, we have got no noise whatsoever from that wheel bearing. A little bit of tyre noise, but nothing to worry about. But yeah, hope you liked the video. Well, let's get it sent.